With James Gunn's Superman dropping in July, we already knew that Superman would have a big summer. And now DC and James Gunn have made it official by declaring the summer of 2025 the summer of Superman. Hey Internet, I'm Chris. And this is the place on the internet where I talk about comics, movies, games, and things I'm generally passionate about. Before we get into the summer of Superman, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's dive in. The trailer currently at 50 million views on DC's official YouTube channel. We all knew Superman was going to have a big 2025. And to be honest, historically, comics have not done a great job of highlighting certain characters when they have a big project coming out. But DC looks to buck that trend with Superman this summer, and they're going to have a bunch of projects that they've recently announced coming out in April in anticipation of Superman the movie. First, we have the Summer of Superman special. This is going to be a one-shot that's 48 pages, written by Dan Slott, coming over from Marvel. You're going to have Dan Slott, Mark Waid, Joshua Williamson, with art by Jorge Jimenez, who is a beast. This is going to be a fun issue. One of the all-time great Superman writers in Mark Waid, who wrote Kingdom Come, has been writing some Superman stories recently. Superman Birthright has got The Last Days of Lex Luthor coming up pretty soon. Joshua Williamson, who's been killing it on Superman since he took over the title about a year and a half ago. And Dan Slott, again, coming over from Marvel, known for Spider-Man. He's going to be doing a Superman Unlimited series over the summer as well, but he's going to be making his DC debut in this one shot. There's some really cool variant covers, including a crypto one by Chrissy Zulu, which I am going to get like day one for sure. Then you have Superman 25, which is a part of the ongoing Superman series written by Joshua Williamson with art by Dan Mora, who is a modern day GOAT. I haven't been caught up on the series. Recently, they had like a Doomsday thing, and to be honest, I'm kind of like sick of Doomsday, so I kind of like fell off the series. But Dan Mora art, I think I have to get back into it because I've seen some previews he's posted on Instagram, and every time I'm like, that's like a wallpaper, man. That's a poster. So like, I'm excited to see that art and dive in. Lois Lane recently became Superwoman and got some powers after Absolute Power. So that is a continuation of, again, a critically acclaimed series, and it's been doing pretty well. And the reason I say is doing pretty well because anything in comics that's going over 20 issues these days without getting relaunching is a successful title. And you're getting Superman the World. So Superman the World is interesting because it's by Dan Jurgens. It's going to be sort of like this oversized issue. They've done this with Batman, and it's cool because, again, it is good. Like Batman at DC Comics, they'll print 200 books of Batman if they have to.
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
So it's cool to see Superman get a little bit of that like love that Batman gets, especially in a summer where he has his own movie coming out. Batman the World was okay. Like I read some of it. I think the last one that came out, I don't know if there's multiple, but the last one, maybe it was the Joker the World. It was one with Jeff Johns and Jason Fabak. They kind of did like a spiritual successor to their three Jokers. And anything Jeff Johns, I'm gonna pick up, so I picked that up. And Dan Jurgens obviously has a crazy history with Superman. He created Doomsday, wrote The Deaths of Superman, also created Booster Gold. Fantastic artist, writer, creator overall. So it's going to be something cool to pick up. And then there's this like, child graphic novel thing where they're going to do like Superman and the Good Guy Gang, where you'll have like Guy Gardner and all that. I'm probably going to pick this up and read it to my son, which is cool. I love Guy Gardner. I'm excited to see his debut in the movie. I'm a little disappointed that Nathan Fillion is playing him, not because Nathan Fillion is not a great actor, but it just seems like James Gunn has casted a lot of like really old people to play some iconic characters, and I'm like, well, Guy's probably going to die pretty soon somewhere in this new DC universe, so that's a little disappointing. But again, super excited to get anything Green Lantern. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. I have a little Guy Gardner somewhere, I think like right here. So it's great to see Guy get a little bit of the spotlight. Then on April 18th is going to be officially Superman Day. You're going to have a celebration of Superman. I'm sure there are going to be more details to come, probably some special things, goodies, and participating like comic shops or retailers. And they're going to have some cool stuff in the DC Infinite app, which I really love. If you haven't subscribed to that, I think it's a great way to read older DC comics. I think it does a better job than Marvel of Limited of collecting certain stories. They put it in graphic novel and omnibus form. So especially me that I commute a lot for different things in the city, it's cool to have something where it's like easy to collect all those things. I think as I said, like companies don't do a good job of tying things back to the comics or celebrating certain characters when they have a big project. I can remember in during the pandemic when WandaVision was coming out and people were really excited about that show. Like it was huge and it put that character Wanda and the Scarlet Witch on a new level. And being at my comic shop and people coming in and asking about like, hey, how can I learn more about the Scarlet Witch? Obviously, the most iconic story with her involved is House of M. At the time, House of M was out of print. So the shop could not order or get the trade in or anything like that to be able to capitalize on that success. And then people who maybe would have fallen in love with the hobby and comic book storytelling just probably was like, you know what, I'll move on. Maybe I'll watch like a Comic Storian or a Comics Explained video on it or something like that. And I think that is a big missed opportunity in terms of the golden era of superhero movies, which were clearly past. They did not do a great job of tying things back to the comics. Like you had people really interact with the characters and they failed to really tie it back and also not do a great job of building stories. Like the part of the I mean, this is about Superman, but part of the issue with the MCU right now, I think, is that they've sped run through like all the history of good Marvel comics. And the last few years, they've been stagnant because they haven't really invested in that area. Now, they've been turning it around with the Ultimate Comics, and DC's been doing a good job in the last year or two with their Absolute line and DC All In. But I think this is a great opportunity to show how it's done. And I think James Gunn has done a really good job from day one when he announced the first chapter, Gods and Monsters, of tying it back to the comics, reprinting stories that inspired this first chapter. Also, today it was announced that the first day of shooting of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has started. In that post, James Gunn made it a point to highlight the creators of the story that it was based on. So I think those are really good things. Obviously, those help the Amazon charts. And I think the reason manga is so successful is that their anime adaptations are really about sort of tying it back to the manga and getting more people to buy the manga. Whereas with comic books is meant, it's hard to say what what the point of the movies are without, because I think they're really short-sighted in terms of financial sense. Yes, it's about making like a good movie and stuff like that, but I don't think they really think about the long-term implications of what some of these adaptations mean in terms of how people engage with the comics and the original medium and all that. And I think that's kind of become problematic. And it's something that they've shied away from. Like when I was a kid, like Spider-Man the Animated Series got you into Spider-Man toys in the comics. Batman the Animated Series got you into the comics. Justice League Unlimited especially got you into the comics. There's characters like Booster Gold, the New Gods, like all these different characters that was introduced in these animated series and made it really fun when I found them in the comics. Green Arrow, like I love Green Arrow because of the Justice League Unlimited animated series. James Gunn and DC are doing a great job by making sure that they have this moment of excitement around Superman and tying it back to the comics. And hopefully it does well for comic shops, which are really hurting because of the bankruptcy of Diamond. Then also, like, hey, like if we could get more people into the hobby, comics will grow and be in a better place. And hopefully we can get out of this stagnation that we've been in terms of years of adaptations. This is Superman Summer. So let me know what you're excited about. I know I'm not too excited about Superman Unlimited. You know, DC's done this thing where they bring Marvel writers and they're like, oh yeah, here's Superman. They did it with Bendis. Jason Aaron has had a lot more success. And I like Dan Slott's like Silver Surfer. I never read his Spider-Man. I know some people don't really like his stuff, but like I said, I really loved his Silver Surfer. Let's see what he does with Superman. But the reality is, like, there's so many other great Superman books going, including Absolute Superman, the main Superman book. We got Philip Kennedy Johnson coming back to Superman. So there's so much Superman right now. It almost feels like Batman. So, like, it's good to see that other characters in the DC universe are getting the Batman treatment. But yeah, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.